friends, Miss Amanda here, with another fun STEM activity for you guys to do at home. Now, you may be wondering why we're in my garage. I'm going to get to that. But before I do, did you guys know that Earth Day is coming up? So Earth Day is a day we talk about the Earth and we celebrate it and we think of ways we can be more helpful to the Earth. Now, since it's coming up, it's going to be April 22nd, and it's a really, really special one because it's the 50th one. Can you believe it that there's been 50 Earth Days? Pretty cool, huh? So because of Earth Day, we're going to talk about some of the Earth's helpers. Now, one of the Earth's biggest helpers is our friend, the earthworm. So you can kind of see him. He's a little squiggly right now. So the earthworms are really, really good for the earth because they help make the soil nice and healthy so plants can grow. So worms are pretty cool. So they're not just slimy and icky. They actually have a purpose. Now, earthworms don't have eyes or ears or bones. So they're pretty flexible. They're just one big, long digestive system. So that includes a mouth, your stomach, things like that. So earthworms can be found pretty much everywhere except for Antarctica because it's really, really cold there. And it's really too cold for the worms to live there. Mostly just penguins live there. Anyway, but earthworms can be found everywhere. Now, the biggest earthworm they've ever found was in 1967. Now, that was a long time ago. So they found it, and it was 21 feet long. Can you believe it? It's pretty long for an earthworm, isn't it? So they're pretty cool. They can get really big. Most of them are kind of small. They do have a head, and they have a tail. Some people say if you cut them in half, then you'll have two earthworms, but that's not true. With earthworms, if you cut the tail off, the head part will live, but it'll be kind of hurt for a while. The tail part won't make a new worm. So let's be kind to our earthworm friends, okay? So this dude's pretty big. He came from my backyard. You guys have worms in your backyard and in your gardens, and you want to have them in your gardens and gardens because they make all of your plants pretty. Now, you may be wondering how they do that, but I'm going to tell you. So, what worms do and why they're really good helpers for the earth is they eat all of the dead, like plants, like leaves and grass and things, and they eat dirt and teeny rocks, and they digest all of that in their tummy, and when they poop it out, they make what I like to think of as super poop. So now that super poop is really, really good for plants. It's called worm castings. Okay. So it's really good for plants because it has a lot of the nutrients that they need to grow big and pretty. So, and plants are good for us because plants help make oxygen, which helps us to breathe. So we need that, right? You like to breathe. I like to breathe. Breathing's my favorite. So now, worms kind of also will dig. They dig through the ground. They don't like to come up to the surface very much, which is usually why you have to dig for them. So they dig through burrows, and they eat the dirt as they dig. So it's kind of hard for us because we can't just dig underground and, see their burrows. So what we're going to do, if you want to see how earthworms make burrows through the ground, is we're going to make our very own wormery. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to put this little dude down back in his dirt. Go there. So if you want to make your very own wormery at home so you can observe worms, what you'll need like a vase or some kind of clear thing where you can see through. So you can use a vase. This is the vase that me and Mr. Tom had our Unity candles in. So we're repurposing that temporarily. It washes, it's fine. If you don't want to do something like that, like you can use like a plastic container like this. So I'd recommend a bigger one, but this is the only empty one I had at the moment. So we're going to use this. So you'll need a vase. You'll need some gravel. So we'll go ahead and put our gravel in because that'll be at the bottom. and to help for drainage. So you'll need some gravel. You will need some dirt. So I just have some topsoil I bought at Lowe's because, like I said, I had to fill in a hole in our yard. So I already had it. So you need some dirt. I would not recommend using potting soil because it has what's called perlite in it. They're the little white things. They're not that great for worms. So just use plain topsoil. So you'll need that. You'll need some sand. Just play sand. You can also pick that up at Lowe's. And you will need some dead organic material. So grass, leaves, that kind of stuff. So, and then you'll need a spray bottle. So, I'll get to all that's for in just a minute. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your gravel in here in the bottom. Now, I have a little bit more from my the wormery I already made to show you guys what it looks like at the end. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, you want it right there at the bottom. So, what's going to happen is this is going to be kind of your drainage. That way, water just doesn't settle at the bottom. So, it'll give something for it to filter through. Now, so you'll put your gravel in. Then, you're going to take a scoop of dirt, just like this, and then kind of spread it around the bottom. Now, you do want your dirt layers to be thicker than you want your sand layers. Speaking of sand, we're going to add a little bit of sand. And kind of smooth that out. So, why you are adding sand, you're adding sand because that way you can actually see your wormies move through the dirt and the sand as they burrow. Okay? So there you go. So there's your next layer. And then another layer of sand, like you do. Now, there you go. Now you'll add some more dirt. So, while we're doing this, I wanted to tell another thing that's really cool about worms is while worms also make the soil really healthy for plants, they do something else that's really cool. So while they're making their burrows, they're tunneling through, they are making holes, so they're breaking up the ground so air and water can get into the ground too, which helps make the soil healthy. Now here in Tennessee, we have red clay. So that means the soil is really, really hard. So worms help break that up and make it healthy so things can grow. So now that we have gotten all the way to the top, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to leave some space. As you can kind of see, there's some space at the top for your plant material. So before you put your dead plant material in, you're going to add your worms. Now I'm not adding worms to this one because I already have a wormery and I don't need to do another one. This is just kind of to show you guys how this works. So we're going to go ahead, we'll put our grass and leaves up here at the top. And then to kind of make sure everything is nice and moist, because worms don't really like dry soil. They like nice moist soils. Nice, you know, they don't want it to be wet, but you want it to be damp. So you're going to spray it. You don't want to add more than a couple teaspoons in because otherwise your worms might drown. So we're just going to mist it. And there you go. So what I would do, just to be nice to your worms, so because worms are wild animals, we got to keep them for a little while and then we want to let them go because otherwise they can't do their jobs as helpers. So you'll kind of watch your worms for about 5 to 7 days and then you'll see all the cool tunnels they make. I wouldn't keep them for more than 2 weeks because 2 weeks off your job is really, really hard. So kind of watch them. If their soil seems really dry, just mist it. You'll also want to keep your container covered because worms like it dark, right? So, and if they're exposed to the light like this, they won't make the burrows on the outside of the soil. So you won't be able to see them because they'll be in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the one I already made. Put that one to the side. So I have a spare flower pot covering mine. This one, I used a fish bowl that I found at school. And I'm going to see if I can show you guys some of the cool little tunnels that our wormy friends have made. Maybe kind of hard to see, but that's what this, there's kind of one right there. And I can't see if there's one. So yeah, you can kind of see right here where the soil has moved. The worm has been making a burrow right there. Pretty neat, huh? So let's see if there's any other ones. So this one I didn't add as many worms as I probably should have. Now, I think I only put about 6 in here, but I did put at least one that was the size of our friend that I showed you earlier. So I did find one in my yard that was this big. Pretty cool. That's the biggest worm I've ever seen. I thought it was really cool. So back to what we're doing. Now, like I said, keep them about 2 weeks. You can add a bunch of worms in. You'll get more burrows that way. So how you can find them is you can, dig in your yard. Just pull up some weeds. They should be kind of right under the surface right there. But if you don't want your kids digging in your yard, you can always go buy some. So they sell them. I've done it before where we used fishing worms. Although I don't know if you could, I don't think you can release those here. So I wanted my worms to be able to go put them back in my backyard when I was done. So I would use worms that come from your backyard. So if your littles don't like to touch worms, that's why I wear gloves. I feel a whole lot more comfortable touching worms that way. So that's it. It's all about worms. Those are some of the Earth's greatest helpers. And next week we'll see about some other great helpers for the world. So thank you guys for watching. I miss you. I love you. Be safe.